Hello everyone, my name is Colin. And one reason I'm doing this video is so that I can add a little something to the records, if you want to call it that. It's because a lot of people have said to me, you should do this video because there's a lot of stuff that you know. Not in the general population, the average person who walks down the street. I'm talking about in the criminal world. Now, I've been involved in the criminal world, the drugs world, the seedy world of it all. And a lot of the times it used to be fun. And a lot of times it never. The times that it was fun is when you would, have a big score, big hit, you have got a lot of money, you go and spend it on a drug, you get off your face, you go and have a party, you meet girls, you're with your pals, everything's all good. The bills being paid, the kids are happy, everything. During those mad times. Anyway, so how did it all start? Well, I would say about 13 years old. That was the first time that I tasted alcohol. My nan used to throw New Year's Eve parties every year. And so every year that sort of went by, from 13 onwards, I used to sort of almost with military position, how I'm going to get alcohol at the party when the time came. But the first time I took it was when, we would make out we're taking out the rubbish and the trash and throwing it out because the bin bags were getting full up with alcohol bottles and cans and whatnot. So what we would do is throw some cans of beer in with the rubbish, go around the corner, undo it, run down to the garages when no one could see us, and then me and my next brother down would start having a good old drink. And then I liked it, but I think I did too much of it, and I started puking up and all that place. But I knew that if I just did a bit at a time, I actually sort of enjoyed the buzz from it. It was a lovely way of escaping from the reality, because a kid growing up as a kid in the early 80s, it was kind of boring, really. We moved from a place in Hertfordshire back to London. We were originally from London, but we moved out and then came back. And, during that time there, I was sort of involved in petty theft, breaking into sheds and, stupid shit like that, shoplifting and whatnot. And then that sort of carried on until I was about 16, and then I started burgling shops with an old friend of mine from Kentish Town, and we used to do that more or less maybe 3 times a week, say like that, and we'd get the money, and sometimes we'd get nothing, sometimes we wouldn't be able to get in, but a lot of times we did get in. And it was when you actually got something out of a place that's meant to be locked tight, and you have to get a real rush from it. But that was also the first time that when I turned 17, I got arrested for a burglary of a shop in a place called St Albans. So I thought I was going to get out bail, and then just back to the normal stuff. Not this time. No, they said to me, this time you're going into custody. So the magistrates, they put me on remand. I was on remand for about 4 months. Now back then, it's not like the jail system now where they just mix everyone with everyone, apart from the nonces. But you had back then, people on remand, unconvicted, were separated from the people that were guilty, or what was called J-Ard. Now, the status of J-Ard, judge's remand, is absolutely the worst status you could be in. You didn't get no privileges of the people that were remand. At that time, I remember you could bring alcohol, tobacco. You could even have a Sunday lunch brought in. No joke. But the people convicted could get a job, get transferred, allocated to a better jail, and they know where they're at. They know when they're getting out, etc. So, being J-Ard, you're in the middle of both of those things. In other words, you got the worst of both. Being convicted and only allowed to spend what the convicted could spend at that time was probably about, like £3 or something like that. And if money was sent in, all you could spend it on was toiletries and stationery. That was it. You couldn't buy anything else. Whereas the people on remand, with them private spends that used to come in. They could buy whatever they liked that was within that little shop in the prison. But when you're jailed, you get the spends of someone who's convicted sentence, and the uncertainty of what's going to happen to you from the remand side. So mix that together, you've got what's called JR, and that was a really worst place. And I was like that for 4 months. So anyway, eventually I went to St Albans Crown Court, and at that time I suppose I was probably looking at about 6 to 12 months. That's what my solicitor and barrister said. No. I think they were trying to make an example out of me. I got 21 months as my first time in prison for one commercial burglary. Anyway, after getting out from that, during the time I was getting visits from my friends and family, now they're going to a pub in a place on Finchley Road. It used to be called O. Henry's, and never heard of it. So when I came out, because I was the first one of our crew that has ever been in jail, no one else had been in jail before, I was sort of like treated almost like a star. I was getting drinks bought from me left, right and centre. I was being invited to parties. I'm not joking, yeah. I was getting, girls coming up to me, and and we're just flattering with each other. I loved it. It was beautiful. So now, so now you've got to taste the going out, what it's like to actually go out for a night out. So that was my first time, and the fun that I had within that time was unbelievable. But 2 years later, this is now 17. I was 17 now. I'm not 19, or no, I came out when I was 18. That's it. And I was about 19 and a half, something like that. No, it was actually when I was 18 still. I got a first taste of ecstasy at that time. Now at that time there, you had things that were called Californian Sunrises, yellow burgers, white burgers. They, back then they were the best drugs that you could ever have. I mean, they literally make you felt like you was in love with everything and everyone. Not like today. So I was involved in the rave scene. So one day I'd be drinking, one day I'd be on the rave scene, and in my head it was the best time in my absolute life ever, and nothing was going to be there. I think it was like the equivalent of like my mum talking about what the 60s were like, when it was like the freedom of the 60s and whatnot. Anyway, so I was meeting girlfriend after girlfriend, going out on nights out, burgling to supply that good time. I loved the thought of getting out of my head on several different buzzes, and I tried cocaine, but I didn't think much of it compared to ecstasy. Ecstasy was my drug of choice by far. Then the jungle scene come in, wasn't really my type. Went into the underground house scene. And then, but at that time there, I was still burgling in shops and going to prison. And what you don't seem to realise at those points is that going into prison is actually a nasty experience. Yeah, it's not like all fun and games, and I never used to fight when I was outside. I hated violence. But on one occasion, there was this guy called Spencer. I'll never forget it. And I was in a place called Warren Hill in Suffolk. I think it was in Suffolk. And next door, it was called Hollesley Bay, but it was the closed prison. But the nickname for it was Warren Hill. That's what it was then. And I used to just go about my business as usual. I'd been there for quite a long time, about 8-9 months. And I was an inmate who was just getting on with it, keeping himself besides a little group of friends. And then one day, as the doors were being unlocked, as the screw was going down, opening one side, because there was 7 cells that side and like 7 cells this side, and he opened that side first, and as he got down to the end, no, tell a lie, sorry. He opened our side first, and as he was coming up, he come to me, opened the door, I went down for my dinner, screws still unlocking. The bloke at the end on the other side has come into my cell while I was downstairs getting my dinner, and he's leafing through a few of my magazines. I didn't say he could go in my cell, I didn't say he could take anything from my cell, and one thing that cons will tell you, or prisons will tell you, is you do not cell thief. It's called Peter thieving. You do not nick out of someone's cell. If you get caught doing it, you're in big trouble. Especially if it's someone who's known, been there a long time. You know, it doesn't matter who it is really. It's just a sort of unwritten rule. You do not take anything from someone's cell, like when they're not there. That causes big trouble. Anyway, I've come upstairs. A few of my pals have seen me as I'm going towards. Spencer's in your cell, like going through your things, Cole. So I've gone, what the fuck are you doing in my cell, you little prick? And he's gone, are you fucking talking to, you little cunt? I said, yeah, I'll see you in the morning, you little mug. Down in the showers. Anyway, yeah, he put my magazines, but put the fucking magazines back down. So he put them back down. As he's walking out, I've realised, fuck, I've just offered this big black geezer out for a row. And I am, my heart's going 10 to the dozen, like, with it, and adrenaline's running through me. And if you'd have hit me then, I would have been punching up straight away. But because I said I'll see you in the shower tomorrow, that's how it's going to happen now. So as we've got banged up, the next time we're getting opened up is in the morning, on Saturday morning. I'll never forget any of it. How we used to talk, I used to say like I wanted to talk to someone from one cell to the opposite cell, and the one next door, and the one next door to me. All we would do is push the water out of our toilet, creating that U-bend to push it all out, and you can actually talk to each other through it. It's amazing. So it acts like a sort of like an intercom system, sort of four-way intercom system, like, you know, with real clarity too, because everyone else's toilets have got that water in the U-bend, so it's silenced. Anyway, a couple of my pals have gone, Cole, you up for this one, mate? I went, listen, bruv, not really. I said, but I've said it now, so I've got to go for it. Anyway, morning comes. Shit, I'm sitting there, shit, I've got my shower kit ready, and I'm got no tools with me. I don't believe in none of that stuff, mate. You know, unless you're both willing to go in there with tools. I don't go in there with tools, it's fists. Anyway, so we went down into the showers, and as I was coming down the stairs, there was a recreation area to my left, to my right, yeah, where the snooker hall is. In front of me is the telly as you're going down the stairs. To the left, and then just over there, sort of like left, right, is sideways is the shower door, and here you've got like an ironing area. And my mate G Moore Casco at the time was holding the door for me. So I've walked straight in. That Spencer's come in, and I've just run at him. Bam! Anyway, he started trying to grapple me and all that, and I've done him again. Anyway, we've rolled into the toilet, and as we've rolled into the toilet, I'm on top of him, like with grabbing hold of his locks, and I'm punching him. And he's got his fingers in my mouth, and he's ripped some of the skin away from my gums. And you can't. And that just, I was then started to put my fingers in his eyes, pressing his eyes. So as he pushed me off, I've slipped. He's pushed me off. He's run past me, run out the shower room, and he's tried to grab the iron. He's tried to grab the iron to fucking come in and rush me with it. Anyway, thank fuck my mate G-Moore was there, and he went to him, nah, problem. What are you fucking doing? Put that fucking back down. If you lost the fight, you lost the fight. You ain't running there with no tools. So I came out. I felt like a fucking superstar. People were going at me, clap, clap, clap. Screws couldn't do nothing. They didn't know what was going on. No one was going to grass each other up. So it'd be pointless even them asking us. So I got all the claps. Well done, Cole. Of course, now, because I'm the skinniest one there. I was at that time. A couple of people now, they hate him now, this fella, because they found out what he did and what I did to satisfy. Because if you bottle it, when you say that you're going to have it with someone, you've got to follow it through. If you start saying things like that and shit, you'd be out there as a weak wanker. Yeah, even if you don't like fighting, you have to sometimes do it. So don't get me wrong, I didn't get the taste for violence after that. I just felt victorious on that. It felt like I felt like I just won the freaking featherweight championship. Anyway, he got beaten up by one of my other pals. But someone, in fact, the bloke who lived opposite me, they had an altercation about something. In the end, the bloke got kicked off the wing. So that was my first time in jail with a fight ever. In fact, it was my first ever proper fight, and I got a buzz from that one. But even to this day, I still don't. I don't like fighting. I don't consider myself as a violent person. And that was just sort of like one little aspect of it as well. The reason why, and funny enough, let me give you a little fun fact here. The reason why I actually ended up in the closed part of the prison is because I escaped from the open prison twice. So when they had sent me, when I got sent to prison, I first got sent to Feltham, then I got transferred to Rochester. No, sorry, Chelmsford. Then Rochester. Then I went to Owsley Bay Open Prison. I'll tell you about the escaping the next time, alright? Give you something a little hold on to. I don't want to let everything out of the bag now, alright? So anyway, this is my first go at it, and let's see what happens. Take care, people.